Did you like the picture that I drew in order to tell you a story that was also possible? There was a beautiful girl who took the title of Miss American Children, and she was called Benier, and everyone loved her. And one day, the family decided to go to visit a friend. This was on New Year's Eve, when the family went to visit a friend for dinner and celebrate the new year. And on the way they passed a big forest, and the girl wanted to play, but there was a wolf watching her all the time and wanted to kidnap him. When the girl moved away in the woods, the wolf tried to approach her, but her brother went to search for her, and when the wolf watched him coming from afar, he fled, and fled at once. Come on. The time did not wait until 12 o'clock to celebrate the new year. Come on, go ahead of my love with your friends. And now we must read the events to know what happened on that night and why the family did not wait for friends to celebrate the new year with friends. The murderer was planning for that several months ago, and he broke the window in the cellar in the house. Recently he wrote it in the ransom note as he was watching them all the time. The family has already gone to spend that evening at the home of friends, but the killer followed them there and was hiding behind the trees in the home of friends where the John family was built there, and waited for a long time until the family finished eating dinner and the children went to play, and here he started his plan. The children were playing so that everyone hid, and one of the children went to search for them and try to find them all, and here the murderer ignited the scout and his face towards Benier. And here the girl tried to know the source of the light. The murderer was disguised as a photographer, and Benier was approaching him, so he tried to kidnap her, and near her a narcotic napkin, but her brother noticed that she moved a lot and went to search for her, and when the killer saw him coming from afar, he was afraid and fled quickly, but the girl was sleepy because she insulted some of the smell of the drug that was in the handkerchief. She went to her mother to sleep, and here the family decided to go home so that John sleeps in her room. They took Benier as she was sleeping and rode their car to return to the house, but the killer followed them until they arrived at home, but he left the camera in his car and left the car a little away from the house so that no one noticed it, and began watching them all the time. The family was busy carrying children and transporting things from the car to the house. The door of the house was not closed well, so wait a little bit until they went up to the top floor, then entered from the door and hid inside the house, and wait until everyone slept, and brought a narcotic spray with him and sprayed them in all of the drug to ensure that they slept, and none of them wake up while he was at home, and then wrote the ransom note and went to the Benier room and brought her the people you love and awaken. And he began to feed her from him, but the girl was asleep, and here she started opening her eye gradually. Everyone was sleeping and tried to escape and resist, so she tried to use her nails to wound his hand as he was holding her poetry with pain, but he grabbed the scout and hit her on her head strongly, and he fell over her. The girl took and went down to the basement that felt that the girl had returned her body and brought a blanket to wrap her with her, but she said her pulse because the blow was strong, so that she broke her skull and did not want to leave her with that normal death, so he increased death and hanging her with the rope of her mother and then escaped. After he went out of the house, ran away and rode his car, fleeing it from the place, remembering that he forgot the scout and imagined that he left his mark on the scout where the scout was with him all the time, so he returned again. but in the picture of a photographer, and entered the house as he came to depict the incident. The killer was in front of their eyes looking at them. They cry, and the father did not recognize him, and he may have been able to reach the scout and wipe his mark without anyone noticing. The killer was in front of their eyes looking at them crying, and the policeman could not reach the DNA owner who was on the body, and in front of their eyes was standing the perpetrator. The events of this story are merely a conclusion of the data that was in the case. She completed the story and drafted by Amira Ali and prepared the work and montage Amira Ali